The Iorì wase podcast channel is brought to you by First Nations Fiber. Welcome to the Iorì wase front page podcast. This week, our guests are Lisa Skye and Tyler Gilbert from Tetewatatia'takehnhas, the local nonprofit organization that helps Kahnawa'kehró who are going through cancer treatments.
Have you ever been gaming or working online classes and your internet service constantly gets interrupted? First Nations Fiber is about to ensure that just won't happen again. Get ready for high speed at a new level. Click on fnfiber.com and sign up today. First Nations Fiber, empowering people through connectivity.
We're joined in studio by Lisa Skye and Tyler Gilbert from Tetewatatia'takehnhas. They're the local group that puts on the Purple Ribbon Walk, or have put on the Purple Ribbon Walk in years past. Lisa, can you give us a little bit of a history about the group?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having us. Tetewatatia'takehnhas was started in 2016. Just to give you a little background, there was a local woman in town that needed help, and she said to us, make a long story short, she got her health benefits paid for by Health Canada after several applications, and so she said to us, if you're going to fundraise, I don't want it just for me, I want it for the whole community, because there's a lot of other people in Kahnawa'kehró that need help. So we said, okay, so that was the birth of it. We started fundraising from that spring on, and we've been around for 6 years.
And one of the major fundraisers you guys do, right, is the Purple Ribbon Walk. And of course, I think people need to, hear a little bit more about how that got started and some of the reason behind it, because it's an organization that helps people who are going through cancer treatments, correct?
Right. We help people with active treatment.
Yeah. The Purple Ribbon Walk hasn't been able to be hosted in the last couple of years.
Because of pandemic, and everybody knows we've been through that for the last 2.5 years. You want to take it, Tyler?
Yeah. So like Lisa said, for the past 2.5 years, all through COVID, it hasn't gone on. And even the same for this year, we will not be hosting it here in 2022 for the reason that we like to have our recipients and other patients and cancer patients going through cancer treatment as well to be there and to celebrate with us. So we felt as a committee that it wouldn't be right to invite all these immunocompromised, have them all in one place where the possibility of catching COVID is greater than needs to be. So for that reason, we're not having it this year, but we're hoping, fingers crossed, that next year it's brought back bigger and better.
With Purple Ribbon Walk not taking place this year and the last 2 years, what type of things are you guys doing to raise awareness for, Tetewatatia'takehnhas and to, maybe raise some money to help people who are in need?
But we have a few smaller fundraisers that have been going on. In the past, we had Super Bowl squares, mini lotto tickets. Well, we kind of took a little bit of a break as it's a volunteer committee. So we've all been working through COVID or dealing with COVID at the same time. But that's the reason for kind of this push, is to promote and get back out there and make sure that the community knows we're there and we're still there to help.
Also, in the last 2 years, there's been quite a few donations that have come our way without even having to ask or to actively go out and seek donations. Through the last few years, our Tetewatatia'takehnhas the name is getting out there now, and people know what we're about. So in lieu of flowers, when somebody passes away, some people opt to give donations to Tetewatatia'takehnhas. And we've been able to stay afloat quite generously through the generosity of many people from town giving donations, Yeah. We also had the bingo. K103 did a bingo last week and gave us $1,000, I believe, for that.
Yeah.
But that's really helping, is the generosity of the community. A lot of single donations coming in when people pass away from cancer.
Through our memorial cards.
And those memorial cards could be...
Yeah, those memorial cards can be purchased, not purchased, but picked up rather at Iron Horse. So if a family is interested or has questions, they can reach out to us in lieu of flowers to have memorial cards. And for the community, they can be picked up at Iron Horse or through one of our committee members if need be.
How important is fundraising and donations to your organization?
It's critical. We can't go on if we don't have that. We can't help anybody if we don't have money.
No.
To help out. It's absolutely 100% critical.
How much money, I guess, every year do you look at giving out?
It's not a set amount, right? So the way the process works is if a family or a community member is looking for some support, the process is we ask that you either reach out to one of our committee members or through Facebook, through Tetewatatia'takehnhas Facebook page, and you would submit a letter stating kind of what you need help with, and hopefully like a dollar amount or what you're looking for, whether it's to pay bills or to pay for parking or support with groceries or babysitting or whatever the case may be. There's many different avenues that we're willing to help with, as long as you're going through active treatment. So the funds aren't exactly the same for each person.
It's different every year, depending on the requests. I think we've helped 48 people to date. 48 different families have tapped in.
Wow.
And the every request is different. Like you said, some people might need help with bills, and some people might need help with gas to get to the hospital.
Or groceries, whatever, housekeeping.
Yeah.
So another thing too, 48 sounds like a small number over the course of 6 years, but what we like people to remember is that sometimes it's not a one-shot support. Like if you're going through active treatment, which can last for a period like
a year or two,
even longer, there's some people who are terminal who we've been supporting throughout the 6 years. So it's not just a one-shot deal, you know what I mean? So 48 sounds small, but in the sense that sometimes some of those 48, it's more than a year, 2 years, 3 years that we're supporting them with different things.
Why do you guys get involved in things like this? I mean, volunteerism in the community is huge, right? And people get involved in various causes, and because they're, usually it's because it's an issue that's close to their heart, whether it be sports or healthcare or wherever. But why is it that that you guys have decided to be involved in the Tetewatatia'takehnhas and doing what you guys do?
For me personally, I've lost a mother and a father to cancer. So my sister has had cancer. So cancer has directly affected my family. And we know the struggles that are real. And I have time on my hands to help. So that's why I do it.
Yeah. And that was the original, going back to how it started, that was the original case where I don't remember if it was 6 or 7 of you ladies that sat around a kitchen table, but each person around that table, and the same is for today, each person on our committee was either directly affected in the sense that they either had cancer or they were a caregiver to somebody with cancer. So the same for me when I joined 3 years ago, just the year before COVID. I think it's 3 years ago, actually. The same for me. I had just lost my grandmother to cancer. And then this past January, the same thing, I lost my dad to cancer. So for me, seeing, and I think it's the same for all of us actually on the committee, it was seeing the impact that cancer, the toll it can take on a family, not just emotionally and all that, but also financially if you don't have the means to be able to support yourself or your family or those with kids. So that's kind of our motivating force.
And that's key, what he said, family, because, one person has cancer in the family, but it affects the whole family. And our families are big, our families are extended families. And it doesn't even have to be a family member. It could be your best friend. And, cancer is so prominent out there. It's everywhere. I don't think there's anybody that can say they haven't been affected by somebody with cancer.
And then going through the treatments, it's also, it's a daunting task, right? And every year you hear more and more things are getting removed from what's covered by Medicare and non-insured health benefits and stuff like that. So something like this is, it becomes critical, right?
It does. It does. It impacts the whole family, when you don't have enough money to pay your bills because you lose your job and UI is not cutting it, or if you're lucky to have UI, you need help and and that's what we're here for.
Especially a family with kids and so if there's only one income coming into that household, how are they able to continue to provide and make sure that there's enough food on the table, or even the basic needs, like for one family, it's like we may provide school supplies or toys at a certain time of year, you know what I mean? So there's different things, and that's why it's on a case-by-case basis for the funds to be distributed, because as long as you're going through active treatment, we try to help.
I just want to get back. Tetewatatia'takehnhas, how we got that name. It means we help each other. And I have the pleasure of working at Iorì Hospital. And when we were coming up with this program, this new initiative, I asked one of our residents, and her name was Marie Cross. She was one of my patients. And I said, we need a name. We're starting this group. And I told her about it. And she said it. She just pulled it. I said, what are we going to call it? We want to give it a Mohawk name. And she said it. Tetewatatia'takehnhas. We help each other. That's what you are doing. I said, yes, that's perfect. Thank you. So brought it back to the group, and that's how we got our name, you know.
And it truly is that, because like Lisa said, throughout COVID, it was donations from the community. So when you think about it, it's the community helping community, or community members helping community members.
Throughout the pandemic, you know, not able to gather and have events, and you're talking about, you know, some donations that came from community members. Is there any particular community member you'd like to acknowledge for donations? You know, or they'd prefer to remain anonymous?
Some prefer to remain anonymous, but we could acknowledge Brandon. For sure. Brandon White was
a big supporter of ours.
Yeah, he came on board a couple of years, maybe a year or two before he passed away. And he was like our number one ambassador.
Yeah.
Of
down to his car.
Yeah, his car, NASCAR.
He was a big supporter, and he helped us raise awareness and a lot of funds. You know, he took us to his races.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of support from the outside.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Acknowledge, yeah.
Also a good ambassador. I mean, just a side note, we talk about like men's mental health and how men aren't always as expressive. So when male patients get cancer, they may not be as quick to ask for help, or maybe more shy to talk about it. So having Brandon kind of be like she said, an ambassador, or even a spokesperson for us, in the sense that he was going out there and making sure that there was awareness brought to our group, and even personally himself reaching out to other men that he knew that had cancer. So that was a big support for us, and just knowing that they're having somebody on their side.
Okay, and you know, I guess you are starting this push to reinvigorate and reinform the community about the things that you guys are doing. What are some of the things you have planned over the next little while?
We will be having another mini lotto going out, I believe, in November. We'll also be doing an online penny fair, like you see with all the wheels online, something like that in the near future. But
that's geared more towards Christmas, maybe late November.
Yeah,
a penny fair with toys for the kids.
Nice.
So it'd be a fundraiser to get families involved. You know, get the kids excited.
We are going to be. I think this will come out the day of, so we'll be at the Walk to Recovery as well. Doing some promotion there, trying to speak to some people, make sure that people understand what we're there for and how we can help, and doing some giveaways there. But for now, that's all we have. We don't have anything big, like huge planned, but hopefully next year, once we can get this walk back up and going, it's going to be our biggest fundraiser yet.
You know what? I'm still thinking of people we can acknowledge. I think we should absolutely make an acknowledgement to all the Kahnawa'kehró Mohawk beaters and crafters that have supported us throughout the years.
Yes.
They have given amazing, beautiful donations, and we've raised, at least $10,000 on each raffle. And
Wow.
there's a lot of people that have contributed, a lot of our local artists and artisans. And we can't say thank you enough to them. That's painstakingly, you know, hours and hours of their craft going into making a raffle, a big raffle for us. It's just
Trying to remember how many prizes we had last time.
I think we had, I don't know, I want to say
over 50.
over 50 prizes the last raffle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think, so that's big. And that's, you know, that's just word of mouth, and you call somebody, and I don't think anybody ever said no. You know, can you make us anything? We've had crowns, we've had whimsies, we've had moccasins, earrings,
ribbon shirts, ribbon skirts,
baskets, custos. We've had every type of traditional artwork out there, paintings, and that's from our local artists and artisans, and that's huge.
You know, they're works of art.
They're works of art, and they could easily sell that for themselves, but they've given of their time to give it to us so that we can raise money for the community.
When you think about it, they're almost priceless in a sense.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah, I can name off our committee members. So there's myself and Lisa, Kathy Skye, Anna Mae Rice, Trudy Thomas, Terry Thomas, Trisha LeBarn, and Candida Rice, and Helen Montour Jarvis. So that's our committee members. So at the same time, like when putting in or requesting some support or whatever, some financial aid. If they're not comfortable just sending a message to our Tetewatatia'takehnhas page or whatever the case may be, or calling, and they feel like they can maybe speak to one of us, or they want that personal connection, which we prefer and we like to do, they can reach out to any one of those committee members as well.
Okay, great.
Yep.
You guys are always welcome to come back on here and talk to the team over here at Iorì wase, to get the word out, to help you guys raise awareness, raise some funds, and we're always here to help.
Now for having us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you so much.
Go everybody for listening. Our other podcasts like Meatheads and The Beating Table can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify.
The views and opinions of the guests expressed in this podcast do not reflect those of Iorì wase and its employees.